News for I-Team exclusive. One of the biggest police departments in New Jersey is at the center of a growing federal corruption investigation.
News 4 has learned as many as 10 police officers in Jersey City could soon face federal criminal charges. The question, did a group of rogue officers shake down businesses and truck drivers to illegally line their pockets? Chief Investigative Reporter Jonathan Dees is here now with this I-Team exclusive. Jonathan?
Chuck, Natalie, News 4 has learned this federal investigation into several Jersey City police officers has been ongoing for months. One officer has already pleaded guilty, but in the weeks ahead, more than half a dozen current and former police officers could also be charged. The feds are looking hard at a group of police officers who may have been running their own private security operation on Jersey City streets. Jersey City officers are allowed to do off-duty private work, but businesses that use off-duty officers must hire them through the city, and the city gets a fee for providing the service. News 4 has learned the FBI wants to know if some officers ignored those rules and shook down local developers for cash and private security jobs, cutting out the city and the extra fees as required.
When the rules aren't followed, the community loses faith in the very officers that we place our trust in.
Other corruption allegations include no-show job payments and improperly pulling over drivers of large trucks, allegedly telling those drivers to pay up for private security escorts to navigate the city streets. It was back in September, one Jersey City cop, Juan Romaniello, admitted in federal court he helped run this scheme for years. Now it appears the scheme may have involved many more officers.
When you take the first step to bend the rules, the second step becomes easier for these individuals.
This federal investigation comes after county prosecutors in June alleged there was a separate no-show job scheme involving Jersey City police officers at the Pulaski Skyway. 4 Jersey City officers were charged with official misconduct and overtime abuse. They deny wrongdoing. As for the federal investigation, spokesman for U.S. Attorney Paul Fishman and the FBI declined.
At least a dozen New Jersey cops are expected to be arrested in massive payroll fraud scandal. An ongoing federal corruption probe is expected to result in at least a dozen arrests of Jersey City police officers, possibly as early as this month. The charges involve improper and fraudulent billing submitted by officers working off-duty security jobs. In some cases, the cops made arrangements with businesses directly instead of going through the police department to avoid the fees those businesses are required to pay to the city. In other instances, payroll records were falsified and officers were paid for off-duty work that they never actually performed. At least one of the officers involved received more in off-duty pay than he did for his regular police salary. In November of 2015, ex-cop John Romaniello, whose job it was to assign off-duty jobs to fellow police officers, took a plea deal and admitted in court that he had set up a program to deal directly with businesses and cut the city out of their fees. However, his guilty plea to fraud and tax evasion charges as part of the deal wasn't publicly announced until late in 2016. That delay is a pretty good indicator that he is also cooperating with the feds in their continuing investigation and has a lot of his former co-workers feeling a bit nervous. Via the Jersey Journal, the probe is focusing on off-duty, private security work and has already ensnared one former Jersey City police officer. Police officers have been expecting the arrests for months, the sources said. NBC4 New York reported on the probe last week and said that police brass are cooperating with federal officials to identify any officers involved. City spokeswoman Jennifer Morrill indicated that any investigation is a joint operation between the city and the feds. Jersey City police officers are permitted to work off-duty providing security for private companies, which are supposed to go through the city when seeking officers. The city charges an administrative fee of $12 an hour on top of what the company pays the officer. That fee is expected to total nearly $300,000 for the city this year. Sources said the feds are investigating officers who cut the city out as a middleman and either performed the work under the table or took the money without working at all. Off-duty gigs can be lucrative for cops, who receive between $35 and $65 an hour depending on the kind of work. Payroll records show one officer's payments for off-duty work this year, a total of $129,445 since January, were higher than his annual salary, $121,338. 3 officers made more than $100,000 from off-duty work this year, the records show. The records show officers received a total of $14,892,946 this year between Jan.1 and November 17 for off-duty jobs. These guys should really have known that if the boss doesn't get his cut, he's gonna send some guys out to see what's going on out there.